Tokyo, 1932. Emerging from the Showa Depression, a period through which Japan would experience the deepest economic downturn in modern history, a new company was strategically formed that would become renowned throughout the late 1950s and early 1960s as being at the forefront of Japanese camera and optical lens technology. Founded in September 1932, under the directive of the Japanese Ministry of War, Tokyo Optical Company Limited, as translation for Tokyo Kogaku Kikai Kabushiki Kaisha, was to become Japan's second oldest specialized manufacturer of optical goods. As forerunner to Topcon Corporation, operations were established through incorporation of the Surveying and Measurements Division of Hattori Tokei 10, and amalgamation via acquisition of specialist optical manufacturer, Katsumase Sakusho. Renowned as a manufacturer of precision clocks and watches, Hattori Tokei 10 would later incorporate as Seiko Holdings Corporation. With an initial engagement of 88 employees, Tokyo Kogaku corporate offices were established within the Waco department store building at No. 2 Ginza 4 Kome, Kyobashi-ku. Early manufacturing and research activities were conducted from factories located within Tokyo's Toshima and Takanagawa-ku wards. In April 1933, operations were consolidated at a newly constructed factory, located at 180 Shimura Moto Hasunuma-cho, Itabashi-ku, Tokyo. Selected at the time for its proximity to aligned military infrastructure, the Itabashi-ku address remains today, the corporate address of Topcon Corporation. Appointed principal supplier of optical equipment to the Imperial Japanese Army, Tokyo Kogaku was tasked with the development and production of surveying instruments, sniper scopes, binoculars, and optical weaponry for military application. In the 1930s pre-war period, the development of optical technology was viewed by the Japanese military to be of critical strategic importance. And significantly, where Japanese radar technology was known to be years behind that of America and Great Britain, optical weapons were seen as the mainstay of information warfare. Between 1935 and 1945, military demand for weapons-related optical equipment led to rapid growth in supporting industry sectors. And through strategic acquisitions, underpinned financially by military orders, Tokyo Kogaku would expand operations exponentially. At its wartime production peak, the company maintained a workforce of some 7,000 skilled employees. Of note, where Tokyo Kogaku would function under the auspices of the Japanese Imperial Army, the Imperial Japanese Navy would sponsor Nippon Kogaku for its optical production needs. The intense rivalry between the Japanese Imperial Army and Navy at the time was reflected in how the military nurtured relationships and competition among Japanese firms. As evidenced, the relationship between Tokyo Kogaku and Nippon Kogaku would become so famous that they were referenced in period as Kai no Nikko, being Nikko of the sea, and Riku no Toko, which translates to Toko of the land. The two companies were at the forefront of Japan's optical research and manufacturing, and their technical capabilities were revered. Nippon Kogaku would rebrand as Nikon Corporation in 1988. With heightening international tensions in the early to mid-1930s, the importation of optical equipment to Japan from European and American sources became difficult, leading to the rapid rise through necessity of domestic camera and lens production. Tandem to its military objectives, Tokyo Kogaku would become an important producer of consumer-focused photographic and surveying equipment to meet rapidly increasing market demand. Of first documented production in 1933, Toko transit theodolites and precision Toko Y-level measuring instruments were developed for civilian application. And attributed to the same production year, lens manufacturing commenced with the introduction of 10.5 cm lenses in f6.3 Toko and f4.5 state anastigmat specification. Toko and state name designations would be used to identify lenses of 3-element design. Tokyo Kogaku 10.5 cm lenses would be optioned for the Koka, first center, first roll and first Atui medium format folding strut cameras, manufactured by Kuribayashi Seisakusho, and distributed by Minagawa Shoten. Kuribayashi would rebrand as Petri in 1962. Released in 1935, Toko 7.5 cm lenses of f6.3, 4.5 and 3.5 specification were optioned for Kuribayashi 4.5 by 6 format semi-first, first 6, baby semi-first and speed pocket folding strut cameras. Of the same 1935 production year, Tokyo Kogaku released the 4-element Tessa type, 10.5 cm f4.5 Simlar lens. Designated the premium lens offering for Kuribayashi's first series folding strut cameras. And specified for the luxury Pearl and New Lily 6.5 by 9 cm medium format cameras, manufactured by Konishiroku, forerunner to Konica Corporation. The similar name designation would be used to identify lenses of 4-element design and advanced specification. Pronounced Shimla in Japanese, and derived from Shimura, being a reference to Tokyo Kogaku's operational location, Simlar lenses are today prized user collectibles. In November 1938, Tokyo Kogaku patented the 7-element 4-group double Gauss uncoated 50mm 1.5 Simlar lens. Designed by Tomita Ryoji, it is considered to be one of the finest 1.5 lenses of the pre-war era. Encompassing a front sonar and rear Gauss optical configuration, the structure was claimed to have been appropriated in 1941 by English lens manufacturer Dalmea for production of the legendary Septic Anastigmat 2-inch f1.5 lens. Attributable to the 1937 production year, fixed focus Simlar lenses of 18, 21, and 30 cm f4.5 specification were produced in barrel mount configuration for use with large format cameras. Incorporating an internal diaphragm, known application is obscure. The Oriental Photo Industrial Company's 4x5 view cameras are among the rare confirmed models to have option barrel type Simlar lenses. Released in July 1937, Tokyo Kogaku's first camera, named the Lord, was a solid pressed steel bodied 120 film format, 4.5 by 6 rangefinder. A 7.5 cm f3.5 lens was optioned, in 3-element Toko, or 4-element Simlar specification. Incorporation of a Seiko Sha shutter provided speeds from 1 to 1/250th of a second. Distributed by Hattori Tokei 10, owner of the Lord brand name trademark, only 50 copies of the Lord are believed to have been produced. The outbreak of the Sino-Japanese War in July 1937, and diversion of resources toward military application, was cited as the basis for cessation of production. Although reliability issues concerning rangefinder accuracy was reported, and is believed to have been a contributing factor. In the spring of 1938, Tokyo Kogaku released the Minion, a 4x5 medium format folding strut camera, with self-erecting bellows. Designed by Mishihide Atago, specialist in optical weaponry and camera design, the consumer-focused Minion featured a fixed Toko 6 cm, 3-element 3-group f3.5 lens, and incorporated a Seiko Sha licked leaf shutter. Utilizing 127 film stock to capture 10 exposures per roll of film, a self-timer, and shutter speeds of 1/25th, 1/50th, and 1/100th of a second were specified. Launched in black paint, a chrome version was introduced around November 1939. Advertisements of the period quote a list price of 83 and 93 yen respectively. Incorporating a manual exposure counter in the top plate, and an exposure table graphic affixed to the body, the Minion measured 11 by 9 by 8.2 centimeters, and weighed 320 grams. An Akamado red window with a vertical sliding cover was integrated, to enable manual verification of frame position. And film is loaded through the top plate. A characteristic extolled as an advantage for its ability to change film, while the camera is still in its ever-ready case. Minor updates were made throughout production, culminating in the release of the Minion 2 in late 1939. Early Minion cameras are identified by incorporation of a collapsible Newton-type viewfinder, and absence of an automatic stop film advance mechanism. Standardization of an auto-stop function, and use of a Galilean-type viewfinder were incorporated into Minion 2 variants in late 1939. Produced in limited quantities, manufacturing of consumer photographic equipment by Tokyo Kogaku effectively ceased in 1940, as national resources were diverted to military application.